All right, so now I'm adding in the detail into my apples and my bananas. And I'm actually using another color. I'm using a blue pen just so you can see it a little better and see the difference. You guys are still just drawing in pencil only, okay? All right, so I want to focus on this apple because I just think it looks fun to draw. So I could see that this part is good, but then it needs to come in a little bit more, so I can adjust it still here in this stage. But I want to kind of start adding some shading. So I'm trying to find those little red spots. If I look at the apple itself and I squint my eyes, if I squint really hard, then I can see that those red spots are darker than the yellow spots. So I'm going to shade them in darker. The yellow spots are pretty light, so I'm going to leave those pretty white. I'm not going to do a whole lot of shading because I don't really want to focus on that this drawing. I just want to show you kind of the basic how to start it. If I also squint my eyes, I can see this part where the stem comes out is a lot darker, so I'm going to put a little bit of dark in there. And then I have my stem, which is darker than the banana itself. Now I see that I messed up a little bit. This stem should have been on that banana, but that's okay. We're going to go with it. So now I can sit here and kind of add in some value. You always want to kind of shade in the way that something is going. So this apple comes out towards you, right? It's not flat, so we would shade this way. If we want to sit here and spend the time to put in all the detail. I'm going to quickly just kind of lay in some shading, nothing too crazy. Now the minute this looks 3D and super realistic and like almost like an optical illusion, like you can grab a real apple, that is now not a shape, it's a form. So when a shape becomes 3D, three-dimensional, then that's a form. So we're not really trying to go for that. We're just trying to set it up here a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to draw my other apple. This is a lot darker, but I don't want to spend all this time shading it in. I'm going to quickly lay in some dark kind of color here. Bring that part out a little bit. This is really dark right here, so I'm going to spend some time to really darken this part up. Squint my eyes, that's still pretty dark in there. So I'm going to darken that in. Remember, we're not really focusing on shading right now, but I just want to lay a little bit in there, just so you can kind of get the idea of the shape of the apple here. It's a lot darker here. Okay. Then I'm going to just add a little bit to my bananas here. Just color in some of these dark spots. All right, so you guys kind of get the idea here. So that's one style we can draw in, okay? This is kind of a more realistic drawing for this fruit still life. And we're starting with basic shapes and then advancing into a stronger contour that's more detailed and then adding value. Okay, I'm just gonna move the camera over. The next shape or style we're gonna draw our shapes in is like a more cartoon style. And I'm going to grab a marker for that. So you're gonna do both of these styles. I personally like this one. This is more like the contour kind of style that we were focusing on in our past drawings, but I'm gonna make it really graphic and really cartoony like. So again, simple shapes this time. I go pretty circular, but just put a little bit of variance in there in my shape. And this time I'm gonna just try to hit it like on the first try. So make my apple come down, up. So pretty stylistic or cartoony, right? But you still get the idea that that's an apple. This one, not as much, but you can kind of figure it out that it's some type of fruit. I might put in some lines here to indicate some value and shadow. Put in some shadow here. Little details like this kind of make it and bring it out and show that there is more detail in the fruit and that you're not just doing a really quick line drawing of it. All right, so now I'm going to try the bananas. I'm going to adjust it this time because I know that this one was off. So, and it's okay if it kind of ran into my other drawing. It happens. So I'm trying to get the shape of that banana here on the first try. It is more simplified than my other shape that I drew in my original drawing, right? But it still is more detailed than the very first version of the bananas I drew in the first drawing. So it's a happy medium. Kind of sound like Bob Ross right now. All right, make this come up. I'm just trying my best to kind of follow the shapes. Once you learn to break things down in shape, it just makes drawing in life so much easier. Like, especially realistic drawings, all the shading, you break that down into shapes and you shade in the way that the plane moves. We'll go over that later on. It's a lot easier. I'm gonna add in some of these spots and these dark spots on the bananas just so you can kind of tell a little bit better some of the line work. Color that in, make this thicker. So you're getting the idea from both of these that they are fruit. You see that they're both bananas and apples. Two very different ways of drawing and approaching the drawing, both just as valid. Both are detailed and both start with basic shapes. One you adjust and start super basic and then grow and advance as you go on. The other one you start with a more simplified version of the original shape, so the original banana or the original apple, and then you kind of put your own stylistic twist on it. So there you go, drawing in simple shapes.